Hello, my friend. It's Lety, and today I want to talk to you about something that is simple on the surface but powerful at the core. Self-love is the greatest middle finger of all time. Yes, you heard that right. Because in a world that's always telling you to shrink, to fit in, to hide your light, loving yourself boldly and unapologetically is one of the bravest things you can do. And sometimes it's the quietest way of saying no to everything that tries to make you small. Let me start with a memory, not a pretty one, a night years ago. After a long day of trying to please everyone, I stood in front of the bathroom mirror, toothbrush in hand, staring at someone who looked so much like me but felt like a stranger. I remember thinking, why am I always so exhausted? Why does my face look older than it should? Why do I feel invisible? Even to myself. Maybe you've had a moment like that. Maybe your moment was on the bus, on the rooftop, under a lamp when the house was finally quiet. Maybe you've asked yourself, when is it my turn to feel seen? People talk about self-love like it's a destination, a mountain you reach, arms open, ready for the sunrise. But self-love is not a place. It's the decision to keep coming home to yourself, especially when it's hard, especially when it's lonely, especially when the world hands you nothing but silence and you have to learn to clap for yourself. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to love others, to notice a friend's sadness, to reassure them that one bad day doesn't define them, to send a text just to say, you matter, even if you don't feel it today? But when the voice in your own head whispers, you messed up again, you listen, you believe every word. Why do we show so much mercy to everyone else and so little to ourselves? Let me tell you about Thao. She was the kind of friend who showed up with soup when you were sick. She could sense when you were sad before you even spoke. But when it came to her own pain, she was silent. She hid it well at family gatherings. She smiled for every photo, made sure her parents were proud. But at night, she replayed every mistake, the words, you're too sensitive, you're too slow, you're never enough, words that others tossed away. But she picked up and made into armor one evening. She called me, her voice shaking. I don't know how to rest. Even when I'm tired, I don't know how to be kind to myself. We talked until dawn. She cried. And for the first time, she didn't apologize for her tears that night. She began to learn that loving herself wasn't about being perfect. It was about letting herself be real and letting that be enough. I wonder, when was the last time you let yourself be real? When was the last time you laughed so hard your stomach hurt? Or cried without rushing to wipe away the tears? When did you last sit quietly and listen to your heart, instead of drowning it out with noise, scrolling, or fake smiles? Maybe it's been a while. That's okay. Self-love doesn't expire. It waits for you to notice it again. To come home to yourself, no matter how long you've been away. There's something quietly rebellious about loving yourself in a world that profits off your insecurity. When you say no to something that feels wrong, even if everyone expects a yes, you're rewriting your story. When you stop apologizing for taking up space, you remind others that they can do the same. When you start forgiving yourself, even for the small things, you break a cycle that may have lasted generations. That's why I say self-love is the greatest middle finger of all time. Not because it's rude, but because it's revolutionary. It's quietly saying, I refuse to keep punishing myself for being human. Do you know what real self-love looks like? It's the moment you finally let yourself say, I need help, without shame. It's telling your family, I can't be perfect, but I am trying. It's not hiding your weird hobbies, your loud laugh, your quiet days. It's letting yourself be both the hero and the mess in your own story. It's buying flowers for yourself, not waiting for someone else to it's setting a boundary. Even if it makes you feel guilty at first, it's believing you are worthy of good things, even if no one else believes it yet. And yes, sometimes it's walking away from a friend who only calls when they need something from a relationship that drains more than it fills from a job that expects you to break yourself for a paycheck. These are not easy choices, they hurt. But each one is a step back to yourself. Each one is a way of saying, I matter too. That is a quiet fire of self-love. Let's talk about forgiveness, not for others, for yourself, for the things you didn't know, for the times you did your best and it wasn't enough, for the ways you abandoned your own needs to keep the peace. Self-forgiveness isn't saying what happened was okay. It's saying, I am done carrying shame that does not belong to me. It's putting down the weight so you can finally rest. You may not always see it, but every day you show up for yourself is a victory. Every time you say no to something that breaks you, and yes to something that heals you, is a small revolution. Every time you treat yourself with softness, the world gets a little softer too. And if someone asks, why do you care so much about loving yourself? You can answer gently but firmly, because I'm the only person I will live with for my whole life. Because I want to grow old with a heart that is kind, not just to others, but to myself. So tonight, as you lie down or walk quietly through the city, or sit in your favorite corner with your favorite drink, remember this: you are allowed to rest, you are allowed to be gentle, you are allowed to start again. You are allowed to love yourself. Even on the days when you feel like you're not enough, you are allowed to be a work in progress, and you are allowed to laugh in the face of all those old lies, because self-love, in the end, is not just a gift, it is your birthright. Place your hand on your heart. If you want, whisper to yourself, I am allowed to love myself. I'm allowed to be real. I'm allowed to take up space. I'm allowed to heal. I'm allowed to become who I want to be. Thank you for sharing this space with me tonight, for letting your guard down. Even just a little, for daring to believe that maybe, just maybe, you are worth loving exactly as you are. This is Lety, and I believe in you. Keep going. Even if it's slow, you are never alone here, and as always, the best is yet to come.